Welcome back, listeners, to Paranormal XL. I'm your host, Gigi, and with me until the end is Mama Mary. Today is a special day, as it is Mama Mary's glorious birthday today, so happy birthday, Mama.
Thank you.
It also would have been my grandfather's birthday, so happy birthday, Grandpa.
Happy birthday.
How was your week?
It was really good. Long, but really good overall. I think I always watch my astrology during the week to kind of get an idea of how the week's going to be. So it's a good thing I did, because it could have really been a rough week if I hadn't, but I kept a positive attitude. So overall, it was a really good week.
Good.
It was.
So, are we ready to talk paranormal?
Oh, yes.
All right, so this week has been a scary bedtime story week at my house, so we could all learn about urban legends. Some of the ones I have read are mighty creepy. Let's get started with the definition of urban legends, or what I found, the definition. I just think it's scary stories that people make up and tell over campfire. Mm-hmm. But the Wikipedia says, an urban legend, urban myth, urban tale, or contemporary legend is a modern genre of folklore. It normally includes fictional stories, more often than not presented as truth, rooted from local popular culture. These legends are used for entertainment as well as semi-serious explanations for random events such as disappearances and strange objects, which is probably why this goes into paranormal.
Oh, yeah.
Urban legends are commonly told and used in folklore, and then to play on the fears and emotions of people goes kind of back to when we talked about fear-based beliefs. Mm-hmm. Urban legends are used to contribute to the fears of society, creating anxiety and even adding to prejudice of society.
Oh, yeah. And I think, too, just like talking about raising those fears, a lot of them are created to, keep the children safe. Put that fear into them so they stay away from the river, or certain things to make them be more aware and be a little bit more safe. And I think sometimes people just like a good old story. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. And sometimes it's interesting to have that story that sends the chills up your spine, but you're safe because you're just hearing a story.
Or even, like the stories you tell your children, like if you don't clean your room, a monster's going to grow underneath your bed and going to eat you.
Yeah. Yep.
Or maybe I'm the only parent that did that. I don't know.
Or if you stuff all your stuff under the bed, the monster's going to eat the stuff and then just stay there and wait for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you can use urban legends as a learning tool, I believe, as a parent. A parenting learning tool for your children. I just made that up.
It sounds good to me.
I just put that all together. So, do you want to start with what you looked into first? I just got smaller random ones. So
I remember seeing this one a while ago, probably about 6 months ago. The kids were watching. They like to watch the scary YouTube videos. So I saw this one and I found it interesting. They were talking about I think ghost stories type thing, and it's about the Cecil Hotel. So we'll start with 5 years ago. The guests were complaining that the water had bad pressure and that it was tasting and smelling funny. So the inspector went up on the rooftop to look at the tank and found that there was a body of a 21-year-old woman who had been staying there for a couple of weeks. And it turned out that she had been in there for about 3 weeks. And so they tried to do the investigation and to figure out what happened to her. And the coroner, he deemed it as just like an accidental death. That's it.
Right.
But the questions were raised because there was no way to get up on the roof. How did she get up on the roof when everything's locked down, for one? And then for two, if it was if she fell in there accidentally and died, the lid was closed. So how did the lid get closed? But when they pulled a video of her for an investigation, they see her standing in an elevator. And she's talking and she's acting really weird and she's acting erratic and she's very unstable and she keeps on stepping out of the elevator and looking around the corner and acting like she's talking to somebody. But when they pull up the other video of the hallway, there's nobody there. And so, come to find out, there's been investigations where there are paranormal connections to this. But the Hotel Cecil, it goes way back. It was I think built in the 1925s, right when the Great Depression was going, and it kind of started there because it kind of just became a cesspool type hotel versus like a real hotel that people would go there to stay. Prostitutes would go there, and druggies would go there to stay, and it kind of just led to a large number of bad events happening. There's like at least 16 documented deaths there, and the majority of them span for the first like 20 years, but they all involved somebody either committing suicide or taking some kind of poison. There was one death where a woman was raped and murdered, but there's just like a long history of like bad things happening there. And it's a huge urban legend that like sparked back up after this girl's death in 2013. And then in 2015, there was another gentleman that came there, and they found him just outside the building, and he had committed suicide. So, like, they come here, and after they stayed there for a week, they end up committing suicide. What's really cool about this place is it kind of founded the beginning season of the American Horror Story. That's where that came from. And then I remember reading this story and thinking about a movie that I had watched, Room 1408, and it has, I think, John Cusack in it. Great movie. I've always loved it. It was really interesting because he's a paranormal. He's a good actor. He is. He's awesome. And he's so low-key, but awesome. And he goes in here as a paranormal investigator, but he wants to debunk it. And they try to warn him from staying in this room that nobody ever stays in there because when they do, they commit suicide. And so he goes in there and this experiences crazy things the whole time. In the end, I'm going to ruin the story, he does end up committing suicide.
Spoiler alert.
I'm telling you. I was thinking maybe it came from this place because it sounds like it, but it ended up being a short story from Stephen King. So I'm almost interested in finding out if he read about this and came up with that. But that was the most fascinating.
And that hotel's in LA?
Yes, LA. And it's been there for forever, since 1925.
Wow.
And it quieted down, and then when they started restoring it in 2007, that's when the activity started to pick back up. Fascinating. It's just fascinating.
That is fascinating.
It's freaky all in one. I like a good haunted story, but
that is one place I do not want to go visit, though.
I probably would never stay the night there ever.
No.
I might go visit it, but I wouldn't stay the night.
No, that's just scary. Even though, like, we probably know that there might be other
things there.
That made that happen. Who knows? I need to be optimistic and whatever.
Yeah.
It could be, maybe there's a gas leak that they never knew about or something that just makes people
go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That throws your chemicals off, or I don't know. Maybe they use maybe it's their laundry detergent that makes the people go nuts. I don't know. But
well, they have a video on YouTube, which is really cool if you want to watch it. If you just look up the Hotel Cecil, or if you want to put in Elisa Lam, it'll pull up that video and you can watch her in the elevator, because it's really creepy because she's acting really nuts, but there's nobody she's talking to whatsoever. It's like really a totally unsolved mystery because you can't, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it should be ruled an accidental death when there's so many things that could have happened.
Right. And with her death, it may not be accidental. There could have been somebody waiting for her somewhere that knew her. There could be a normal crime investigation done too. I mean,
she was there for 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Well, did anybody report her missing, like her family or anything?
That I am not sure of. I do know she was a student that was just kind of traveling around from Canada. So I don't know if she was just on spring break or summer break or whatever. It's
she was just MIA.
She was just on her own.
Huh. I'm too much of a scaredy cat to do something like that. You hear people taking their travels and stuff and going abroad between...
Yeah, it's called stranger danger. That's all I'm saying.
Graduating in college and stuff. Nope, not without a buddy. I'm strictly buddy system. I'm not going by myself.
That's why females never go to the bathroom.
That's a scary place.
Yeah.
That can be a scary place. Because of the Bloody Mary hoax. Not hoax, but urban legend.
Oh, yeah.
I mean... Yeah, that was scary.
Tell this legend because I got a hilarious story to tell you.
Okay.
After you tell this legend.
Oh, okay.
Because this is great.
Yes, I am looking through my notes. No shame in my game. I can't memorize all of them because there actually is quite a bit.
There's too many to memorize.
Oh, geez, yeah. With all of our episodes that we have, all 3, but it's so much information. We're trying to cram it because, well, we're busy women.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, the Bloody Mary one's just a short blurb on it. Bloody Mary is a folklore legend consisting of a ghost or spirit conjured to reveal the future. She is said to appear in a mirror when her name is called multiple times. I always remember 3 times. Kind of like Candyman, Candyman.
Yep.
The Bloody Mary apparition may... Oh my gosh. The Bloody Mary apparition may be benign, depending on historic variations of the legend. The Bloody Mary appearances are mostly witnessed in group participation games. I would say that 'cause I remember going to birthday parties when I was 12 or 13. That was something that we did. Mm-hmm. And then going to the mirror, shut the light off, light a candle, and then the stiff as a board, light as a feather thing.
Yep, I used to love to try to do that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good time. Until you get the parents that are like, what are you guys doing on this? Not like we're playing with a Ouija board. Yeah, oh my God. But anyhowsen, that one, I said, that's a well-known one, but there is quite a few.
Well, I remember when I was little, I was fascinated with that story. Fascinated. I was always kind of fascinated with the paranormal, even though it kind of scared me, probably because of the house I grew up in. There's so many things that happened and made me curious.
Yeah.
Well, I remember being at my aunt's house, and I was probably, I'm going to say like 8, and I was in there with my cousins, and we had been talking about the Bloody Mary the night before. And so my cousin dared me to do it. I'm like, well, I'm not scared. I'm going to do it. And so we go to the bathroom, and I don't know why, they turned me around to the left 3 times. And so they turn off all the lights, and so I'm standing there and I'm going, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. And so the 3rd time I get to saying that, my aunt sneaks up behind me and goes, Bloody Mary! Scared the shit.
Did you throw punch her on complete accident, but did you throw punch her?
No, I literally screamed. I'm I'm never doing Bloody Mary ever again. Yeah, so scarred me for life, but I'm okay now. It might explain a couple of things about me, but all right.
That is true. That's put a lot of
that
things.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Wow. Another one that I found weird that was on this list was cow tipping.
Oh my gosh.
Cow tipping, purported activity of sneaking up on any unsuspecting or sleeping upright cow and pushing it over for entertainment. But I'm not for sure. Is it an urban legend? Because I've heard it doesn't work, and I've heard people say, I've been cow tipping. I've never been cow tipping because I don't know. I don't want to hurt a cow. Like I said before, I love all animals. I'm not going to go try to...
So do they really stand sleeping up?
You know,
do they really sleep standing up?
I believe so. But, we got computers in here, and we could probably Google information. But...
Oh, yeah.
That I don't know. That I might have to ask somebody else to go try and see if that's a myth or an urban legend. But I just thought that was weird when I saw that. I was like, this one was kind of funny. Well, not funny. I don't mean that funny at all. But the curse of the Bambino, just because the Sandlot movie. I love the Sandlot movie. So when I saw the Great Bambino, I'm like, oh my God. But anyway, the curse of the Bambino was a superstition involving from the failure of the Boston Red Sox ball team to win the World Series in the 86-year period from 1918 to 2004. While some fans took the curse seriously, which, yes, they did, most used the expression in a tongue-in-cheek manner. I just thought that was kind of weird, again, to see something like that in it. That's not what I was talking about. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. The other one was the killer in the back seat, because I know I always check, especially in the morning when I'm getting up for work. I'm leaving for work at 5 a.m. It is dark. Of course I check my back seat, or if I go shopping and I by myself, I always check the back seat.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Because
there's no way to not check your back seat when you're going.
Well, yeah, but it's...
But now I know why.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you watch so many movies. It's always like that in a movie, a scary movie or not. But killer in the backseat, also known as high beams, is a common car crime urban legend, well known mostly in the United States and the United Kingdom. The legend involves a woman who is driving and being followed by a strange car or truck. The mysterious pursuer flashes his high beams, tailgates her, and sometimes even rams her vehicle. When she finally makes it home, she realizes that the driver was trying to warn her that there was a man, a murderer, rapist, or escaped mental patient hiding in her back seat. Each time the man sat up to attack her, the driver behind had used his high beams to scare the killer, in which he ducks down.
Yeah, I remember that one from when I was a kid. I can guarantee you could ask most people and they probably heard that story. It's sort of like the one, too, that I read about where a woman's driving on her own and her car's not in very good shape, but it needs gas. And she knows she's not going to be able to make it to the next town without getting gas. So the next gas station is like a really creepy looking gas station, like full service, but it's really weird. It's like back from the 30s. It looks like there shouldn't be a gas station anymore. So she pulls up to get gas, and the gas attendant comes out, and she gives him $20 for gas. And he says, well, he goes, I can't take this money, and I think it's counterfeit. And she's like, it's not counterfeit. He's like, no, because I'm not allowed to take it. You're going to have to come into my office and take a look at it, because we're going to have to compare them to other dollar bills. This isn't a real bill. And so finally he convinces her to get out of the vehicle. And she's still nervous. She had an easy feeling anyway, pulling up to the gas station itself. Now she's even more nervous because she's sitting there, and this guy's kind of weird. And now he's convincing her to get out because he's not going to let her leave until they compare the $20 bills.
Right.
But lo and behold, he gets her into the gas station and turns her around. They call the police because there is a guy in her back seat. And she didn't know it.
He's trying to, just get her out without... Oh, wow.
So it's kind of a creepy story, but almost exactly like that. But that's so possible, too. And I think that's where that urban legend comes from, is that possibility of it actually really being able to
Well, yeah, there's so many
happen.
crazy people out there, so many crazy situations that happen around us that we have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
There's some kind of statistic about it with, at all times you're within, I don't know, so many feet or so many miles of somebody that has killed somebody or whatever. That's just crazy to think about.
How could you not be?
Uh-huh.
You know, there's so many people, not in just the United States, but the whole world. There's no way that you haven't, experienced within a week somebody who's done harm to somebody else, or even attempted murder or murdered somebody.
Right. See, I was freaked out when I first got ordained, and one of my friends asked me to marry her and her future husband. Well, he was in prison, so I had to do it in prison, which totally wigged me out anyway, just because I'm 5'2", I'm just timid of everything. I'm like, you want me to go to what prison? Because it's a maximum security prison. I'm like, oh my God. But with that being said, they handled everything very well. I mean, I didn't see any other prisoners besides him, whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that tangent, but we leave, and then she tells me that her now husband is friends with the shoestring killer, and I don't remember if you know. I mean, it happened, I want to say maybe before our time. I want to say it was a long time ago, but I'm like, oh my God, what? I was that close. I just married somebody that knows the... And I'm like,
that's
freaking out. I find that out afterwards, and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, her husband wasn't in there for anything. I mean, it was, I don't want to say bogus charges, but it wasn't murder or rape or...
Nothing as extreme.
Right, nothing to do with children by any means. It was...
It's still kind of creepy, though, when you think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, why is he in there with that guy? So, I go and look why he's locked up. Why is he in this maximum security? But I'm not going to throw...
halfway decent?
I'm not going to throw somebody else's business out there, but it was, something that he probably shouldn't have been in maximum security for, but who knows, things happen in prison that we don't know about with it,
that's true.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I was pretty dang close to a serial killer. Yes, I love learning about serial killers.
They're fascinating.
I don't know, it comes to the psychology of things. I love knowing why people do what they do, or they think the way they think. That's why, the paranormal thing is kind of a cool thing to get into and research.
Oh, yeah.
I've always been interested, but now, we're digging deeper.
Well, it's fun to investigate and research and actually learn versus, always going by what other people might say. Getting into yourself and figuring it out. Engaging in it, so to speak.
Yeah. Getting your own full opinion of it. Putting your own words behind it. Okay, coming back around to killer in the back seat. Scary stuff. Another one that I thought was kind of ridiculous, but kind of makes me scared because I have a dog, and she's a licker. Oh my god! But she just loves me, and she loves everybody. She's such a sweetie pie.
Oh, she is. Even your dad loves her.
I know, that is so weird.
Yeah.
So weird. But this one's called the licked hand.
Oh,
known sometimes as the doggy lick or humans can lick too, is an urban legend popular among teenagers, which was weird. The story describes a killer who secretly spends the night under a girl's bed licking her hand when offered, which she takes to be her dog.
Oh, that's creepy. If that's not creepy, I don't know what is.
Like, that's even creepier than, like, a foot fetish. This could go completely in a totally different direction, but, like, what, just licking somebody's hand while they're sleeping?
Oh.
Like, first of all, you're underneath my bed.
Well, for one, how do you even know what they did with their hand before they went to bed? That's all I gotta say. You don't know where it's been.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know where they went with it.
That's
and you
true.
Don't lick it.
And you're just gonna stick it in your mouth.
Itself.
Don't stick that in your mouth. That's the mothering coming out.
Object.
Oh. A good one that I would like to think that most people have heard about, especially nowadays, is Slenderman. Because this is an urban legend, but there was a case a few years back. I actually watched a lot of footage on it when it was going on. That two teenage girls with a group of three, they were friends, but the two called the one friend over, and they ended up taking her out and killing her and saying that Slenderman told her to do it. Look it up. Like, it's crazy that they show the news footage and stuff. I don't know if it was on, like, I love Dateline, but something like that.
That's sick.
Yeah, and they interview the parents of these kids. Yeah, they were only like 13, something like that, and it was just, what? Slenderman told us to do it, or they were doing it to impress him or something. And I'm like, oh my god, do not believe everything. Like, it's just a scary story. Like,
that is a scary
story.
And
that poor girl was tortured, essentially. Like, these girls tortured her. Now, if I remember correctly, you can look into the court case when they get tried or whatever. Like, one was way more, not sympathetic, but what's the word I'm looking for?
Sadistic?
Yeah.
Or more empathetic.
One was empathetic, one was more sadistic. Like, she was like, okay, whatever. You could tell had something
wrong with her.
Yeah. She wasn't all there, whatever. They both clearly needed help because, under no circumstances do you kill your friend. I mean, unless they're coming to kill you, but even in...
Well, yeah, just...
You're 13.
The idea that you would have that ability to inflict pain on somebody. Because even if somebody were coming at me, I would still have a hard time.
Mm-hmm. But the remorse...
Pain.
Remorse afterwards, there wasn't remorse. The one didn't show very much remorse afterwards. And, like, I show remorse, like, if I run over a frog or a turtle. Like, I pulled over one time. I'm such a crybaby. But I was back, like, 19, 20, I remember, and I was, like, on M50 or something. I'm like, I just ran over a turtle. I'm like, See, but could you imagine killing, like, one of your friends?
No,
like, and knowing intentionally that's what you're doing.
That's sick.
It is sick.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't understand. And
that just kind of leaves you speechless. Like, what else do you say about it?
Yeah, see, now we're touching the crime stuff, but that kind of goes...
Well, that's where the urban legends come from. It's something that bad has happened, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Something gets created from it.
Keep that in mind, because the Michigan, or the urban legend coming from Michigan... Nope. Yeah, Michigan. I'm getting the two confused, Michigan and Iowa urban legend. But the guy that it involves, before he takes his own life, he says, I am possessed.
Oh,
and he blames it on that and then takes his life. And that's why I almost, just because you don't want to think that people can be that sick in the head, you almost want to believe that they are possessed just because that's something, I mean, not easier to believe by any means. That's scary as shit, I think.
Well, there's a reason for it then, versus it just is.
Right.
You know, sometimes, as as a human, we have to have an explanation for it instead of just, it is what it is sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are plenty of crazy people, and I don't mean crazy in a bad term by any means. It's just lack of a better term. And we can't help it. Not we, but I'm crazy sometimes. But it's chemical imbalance is the science part of it. Our chemicals aren't, especially as women. I'm not sexist by any means, but women are more emotional with things.
Oh, yeah.
More.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
they feel more.
Our chemicals just go up and down consistently, and sometimes I piss myself off. I did that the other day. Everything was agitating me, and my mom, as we worked together, she was eating a cookie, and I could hear her. That pisses me off anyway. But usually I can.
Don't say that. I love your mom.
I love her too.
She needs to share her cookies with me.
But if I can hear people chew, that just really, really irritates me. And then it was like pissing me off, and I was like, "Mom." She's like, "What?" And she like looks at me so innocently, like, "What?" I just ate my cookies, and I'm like, "I know." And here I am trying to get right with Jesus before I like lose my shit. And I'm like, "Okay, I just need a second, Mom." And I'm like, "Breathe in." I'm not even sure where that tangent came from, so we will try to get back on things. This dang Slenderman one got me going.
I know. One of my favorite ones is from back in like it's in Kentucky.
Okay.
And it's called The Witch Girl of Pilot's Knob. And so the backstory of it is a mother and a daughter. They were both accused of witchcraft, and they were burned at the stake in 1916. Okay, and so the mother's charred remains being carried off. They took it off to like far off locations, and they kept the daughter they kept her buried in a steel-lined coffin, and covered it all in stone, and encased it in crosses to prevent her to escape, because they felt like she'd still be able to escape. Okay, so some claim to witness tiny footprints appearing in the gravel, because the daughter was quite young. They even see her ghostly figure trying to escape the gravesite. And to be honest, if I see a kid ghost, it's kind of creepy. It's a fascinating story. They even have stories where there's
Red rum.
There's, I forget in which state, I'll have to look it up, but they have a playground right next to the cemetery. And they built it so that when parents are coming to visit the grave sites, the children had a place to play. But the graveyard, I wouldn't say it was like anciently old. I think like the earliest tombstone was like 1822. But people go there to do paranormal investigations all the time, because in this playground you can see orbs going down the slides and going around the playground. And that's because they see, they say that the kids from the graves come out to play. Creepy.
Where's this at?
I'm going to have to look that one back up.
'Cause I ain't going there.
I don't know. I think it'd be kind of fun. Go there with a video camera. See what's going on. I know it's in a different state. I'd have to look up the state.
Okay.
But I thought that was a pretty cool story, too. Yeah. Very interesting.
All right. So, like she stated, one from Kentucky. Now we're getting into, I know when I did my research, there was a list of urban legends from each state. So that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the ones that stuck out with me, we'll start with an A, I guess. Arizona. Excuse me. The Skinwalkers, which is just kind of creepy in itself. I'm pretty sure there's probably a movie out there named that. But it's easy to feel uneasy while driving through the desolate desert roads of Arizona, especially at night, and particularly so when you hear a short burst of taps on your window, while cruising a 60 mile an hour, and turn to see the shape-shifting, mutilated, half-human creature reasonable for the high-speed interpretation. Relax, it's only trying to rip the flesh off your bones. What? Really?
Yeah, not gonna relax.
This legend is so ingrained in Arizona culture that when a Navajo woman was found brutally murdered in Flagstaff, the accused killer's defense in court was that the attack could have only been perpetrated by a skinwalker. Really, you're going to say that in court? Like, I want to look that up some more. To be like...
It is really interesting.
And see, like, a judge's face. Be like, what?
But something I've learned, that a lot of the urban legends themselves come from Native American stories.
Yes.
I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, a lot of the American urban legends and stuff.
Yeah.
I've actually read that looking through all this and the other research. I research and get my info from a lot of different sources, but these were kind of the best ones, and I kind of throw in from a little bit of everything. But, sorry, I had to take another sip of wine because it's Mama Mary's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Not that I need an excuse to drink wine, because I've drinking it every time so far. But anyway, there's even a defined and well-documented portion of the state known as Skinwalker Ranch, where you are most likely to see one of the creatures. Not that you'd actually want to. We are so good. We're so going. I have a relative in Arizona. We can totally stay there.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if I want to see a skinwalker.
I just want to see it. I don't want to,
have your, flesh ripped off?
Yeah. Yeah, unless they're going to replace it with younger flesh.
Oh, that's
true. I'd be all right with that, but... So you got to think positive.
Well, yeah.
It came from... Or anyway, the skinwalkers, like so many ancient American urban legends, have roots in Native American folklore. While it's fairly hard to gather specific details, as speaking of a potentially sinister legends is seriously taboo in Navajo culture, it is understood that what non-Navajo refer to as skinwalkers are witch doctors who have become an evil reflection of everything the Navajo Nation values. Basically, they are men who've transformed into malevolent, murderous creatures that have no qualms using their spiritual powers to kill. That's scary. Navajo medicine men are trained to learn both good and evil aspects of their power, and skinwalkers are those who have turned to the dark side. It's all very Star Wars.
Well, if you think about it, there's a dark side to everything. It doesn't matter what you believe in or what you're doing or, what kind of faith you carry. There's that light part of it, and there's always a dark part of it. It doesn't matter what. You can go to church, and you're still going to have people who are negative people. Mm-hmm. You can, no matter what you do. So that's a really fascinating story. And for me, I can see where it's based on some kind of truth. Definitely. Because, Native American tribes, they have their shamans. They have their healers. Right. And I really do see that aspect where, as a healer myself, where you look, you have to...
But you're a white witch.
I am.
You're a good witch.
But you still have to face that dark along with the light. And so some people are going to be drawn more towards that darkness. So I like that story. And I bet it has some kind of... I'm sure it's exaggerated in some sense.
Oh, I'm sure.
But
because that's how you keep interested in it, where you're like, ooh, ooh. Yeah. But it had to come from somewhere. I could see the witch doctors or whatever, because I know way back when that's... And the natural healers and stuff, I don't want to say how we got to where we are, but that's how people did things back then. Either you were in a religion or you were a natural healer, which is a type of religion. I get that. My terms are probably off. Don't hate me for it. I'm just trying to explain it. I don't know. I forgot where I was going to go with that.
Well, every town has some kind of healer. That's the given. And before we had that medicine, you went out into the woods and you picked your plants and your herbs to create those remedies.
Yeah.
And so that's probably where part of that stems from, is sometimes you have the plants that can heal, but you can have the plants that do harm. So it's going over that edge and deciding to do harm.
That's where I was going with it. The bad witch doctors that went across to the dark side or whatever, I can see that probably happening way back then. Although... people or skinwalkers trying to steal your skin. I don't know if I believe that so much, but I can see the witch doctors, because there are good people, there are bad people. They decide which side they're going to take. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that there's like that in any situation, just like you were saying a little bit ago. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I think that's where it came from. There was bad witch doctors and there was good witch doctors, and then somebody added in that they wanted to steal your skin. Why, I don't know, but...
Or maybe they just came up with a story because they don't want you to drive faster than 60 on the highway.
I drive like 82. I set my cruise, and where we live, the speed limit's 70. I never get pulled. Oh, knock on wood. Goes back to last week. And I've never gotten pulled over. So 60, really, I can see in the middle of a desert, really wouldn't even seem that fast, really. Just because what I've seen from movies and whatnot, people driving on the desert, it's just a straight shot. And I know even here, you're driving a straight shot, going 65, you feel like you're going like 40.
Yeah. I'll see. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Ugh, but I see what you're saying. Don't speed in the desert.
That's right. So here's a story that kind of creeped me out, and it's a story about a teenage girl, and her parents are out on a date, and she's taking care of her younger sister. They sit there for a while, and they're watching movies, and she sends her younger sister to bed, and she sits there for a little while by herself, and she's watching TV. Eventually, she gets bored with that, so she turns off the TV, and she's looking at the snow, and she's looking out the window. And so all of a sudden, she's sitting there, and she sees a man coming up towards the window.
It's the Goblin King.
Holy shit.
Sorry.
And now she's going to have to go into a labyrinth.
Oh, crap. Yeah, but with that being said, you get to see the cute little worm.
Oh.
I love him.
That's
I love
my
him.
favorite part.
You need it for your desk at work. I seen it somewhere on the Facebook where you can get the little worm. I forget his name. And it says he can sit with you all the time, but you can get him, and he sits there and he looks at you with his little eyes. He's not real.
Just so all you guys know, we're talking about The Labyrinth, which is like one of the best movies
That's classic.
ever. David Bowie, awesome.
Classic movie. Everything about it was good.
I love it when he takes the ball and rubs it on his hand.
I see that was
back and forth.
way before my kids' time, and they loved that movie. And
yeah,
the music,
mine too.
music,
Awesome.
And I'm like, what? You like the music? And Destiny, what? She's 17 now.
Yeah.
Heart attack. But she knows it too. Like, it's way before the time. Anyway, if you haven't seen it,
watch it.
yeah, totally
Good
get
stuff.
it. Get your kids in it. It's good. It'll teach
is a
them to
great
be
movie.
good. I can tell you that. They'll listen to you.
Not to be snotty too.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so the girl freaks out, and she covers her head up with a blanket. So after a while of sitting there, she takes the blanket back off, decides to call the cops. The cops come and they search the house. They search outside there, but they don't see any footsteps. And when they come back in, they see right up behind her couch are what? Footsteps. And then she realizes that he was never coming towards her from the outside. She was seeing his reflection in the window coming up from behind her. Read this, freaked me out, got chills up my spine, and so from now on, I am never staying up late by myself. Ever again. Or turning off the TV. Another cool one that I read was, it was about a college girl, and she was studying late in the library. And she did that often, but one night she forgot something that she really needed for the studying, so she went back to the dorm. And when she walked into the bedroom, the lights were all off, but she didn't want to disturb her roommate. She didn't want to wake her back up, so she kept the light off and went in and she grabbed what she needed to grab and went back to the library. Well, when she came back later, she turned on the light and she found her roommate's body in the middle of the floor, dead. And written on the mirror in lipstick was, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light?" Now, if that doesn't send chills up your spine, there's something wrong with you. That one creeped me out, too. Fascinating. Sure, an urban legend, probably more to, like, remind young girls to be aware of your surroundings. But still,
I say
just a little
learning
creepy.
lessons. You can take learning lessons. You can take lessons from most urban legends, like the car one. Okay, as a woman or a guy, because people kill guys too, but always be aware of your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
Look in your car. Look, before you get in.
Oh, yeah.
Don't drive 60 down the highway, otherwise your skin's gonna come off.
Oh, yeah.
No.
If that's
No
not a life
speeding.
lesson, I don't know what is.
Pay attention to what's your surroundings. Be a good kid so you don't end up in the labyrinth. Like,
Hold on to your skin.
I think that's where the reason for urban legends is
I think so.
lessons for your children. I'm gonna write a book.
Yeah. Well, try to keep them, reined in a little bit.
Yeah. Wow.
Keeps me reined in.
I'm just like having
I'm
an
40.
epiphany here. I'm like, are you today?
I am. Can you believe it?
Oh my
I was
god.
driving like, oh my god, I'm 40. But I don't feel like I'm 40. I feel like I should still be like 15 or something because in my
Okay.
reality, that's where I want to be.
Well, my birthday's on Monday, and I'm gonna be 37.
I know.
And I've been crying like 3 times a week. I'm having a hell of a time. And you want to know what? It isn't about me getting older. It's my kids getting older.
Well,
Destiny being
it's hard.
17. My favoriteest little boy in the whole world, 11. And becoming a man. He's taller than me, and he's 11. And his voice is changing. He's got himself a little 5 o'clock mustache there. My heart is broken because I don't know what I'm going to take care of when they're gone
I know.
and grown up.
You're going to have to get a parrot.
No, I don't like birds. Okay, so I'm going to take that back. I love birds. I just don't want any. That's all. I will visit and pet it and Teach it bad words.
Well, yeah, that's the fun part.
But yeah, watching the kids grow up, I don't like that at all. It's bad, and I don't think any parent should have to deal with it.
No. Well, my oldest, she's up in Marquette in college, and that kind of broke my heart. But I'm glad to see her kind of fly, so to speak.
Yes.
But excited about going to get her in a couple of weeks.
You know, and that's destiny.
But it's hard to believe that she's that old.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not that old.
Right, well, I don't care about myself. I do care about myself getting old. I'm not even gonna lie. But I look great. It's in my genes. We all look great.
Well, that's the Bassett,
Yeah.
Bassett gene.
The Bassett and the Hyatt, like,
I know.
they're both like, whoa, because my mom still gets carded. Like,
Oh,
it
she
just,
does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and all my cousins look super young. But, anyway.
Oh, yeah, all right. I get it.
We're going to have to start a parenting podcast or a mom and wine parenting
There you go.
contest? Podcast. Well, maybe skip so much of the wine. And okay, anyway, back to paranormal because that's why we are here. I got another one from Colorado. And it's Riverdale Road. It says for 11 horrifying miles, Riverdale Road near Thornton, Colorado is crammed with enough horrifying legends to bring even the bravest paranormal investigator to his knees. From a ghostly runner attacking parked cars on Joggers Hill to various demons and even phantom Camaro revving up and down the winding road. But the gates of hell, seems the epicenter. The physical iron gates are now, oh, that sucks. The physical iron gates are now gone, but what remains is the partial shell of an old mansion where a madman supposedly burned his wife and children alive. Left behind are the barren, charred plot of land and a white-clad woman who wanders the area. She's joined by the ghost of slaves supposedly hanged from the now charred tree. Go ahead and run away when you see something creepy like a ethereal pack of dogs. You're probably just going to bump into something worse. Probably hell. That's funny. Possibly hell.
Well, that's not creepy.
A portal to which some believe is here. Ooh. So Riverdale, they say, has the portal to hell. That maybe explains why so many demons were conjoined in a weird underground chicken coop near a set of underground tunnels.
I totally believe that there's portals. I don't know necessarily if to hell. Because
I'll say, where do they go? That would be my question.
Well,
where do they go?
Across the veil to the other side. But for me,
the level up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sort of. But like for me, I don't believe there is like a hell. I believe there's hell, but for me, it would be reincarnating and coming back and living those life lessons all over again.
Ugh, that would be hell.
You see those people who are bipolar or sick or have just issues that they can't seem to get over. That's hell. Think about that for a minute. That's hell.
Let that sink in,
they're
listeners.
Living in their own hell.
Yeah.
Quit going through that portal. But I do believe that there are places that have portals, and that's why you find places that are more active than others. And because spirit has an opening where they can come through. So I totally believe that in a sense. For me, I'm less fear-based of what could be fearful. I'm more of engaging and seeing what you can experience. I do know that there's evil out there, but there's evil no matter where you go. But that is a cool story. Love it.
Well, let me continue just for a second more where it came from. It's unknown where things got really hairy. Though, given the spirits of ghost slaves, it's safe to assume terrible things have been happening on Riverdale Road since the 1850s.
Oh.
And each time something terrible happened over the decades, it's just kind of stacked onto the nestling doll of a horror show. You know,
That's
off air, off this record recording, we need to make a show on this.
Well, yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I'm gonna make a little note here.
Mm-hmm.
Hear the click of my pen.
Yep, there it is.
There it is.
Well, too, when you read about the Phantom Camaro, that reminded me of another story that I read about called the Black Volga. And this one kind of takes place in the Soviet Union. And it was a Black Volga limousine So back, at this time, the Soviet Union was in the 60s and 70s. It wasn't a great place to be. It had the Cold War, and people lived in like constant fear. And so to this day, no one knows who was driving this high-class, high-end limousine. But there's a lot of speculation that maybe it was priests or nuns, maybe it was, Satan worshipers, or even the devil himself. Whatever the case, when the Black Volga appeared to you, bad things happened. Some people, they said that if you were challenged, you're going to challenge the Black Volga, within 24 hours, you were going to die. So they kind of associated with this black limousine with, death and evil beings. And they even thought, that it was taking children. It was sleek and black with white curtains. And so for me, I feel like, even though they said it would materialize out of nowhere, I feel like it sounds more like a hearse to me.
That's what I was saying. It took me, when you said that, it took me back to funerals
type thing.
Okay.
And it said that sometimes the side mirrors, and I'm not laughing at this, but it's just kind of fascinating, would turn into horns. And that when it appeared, that many children would be reported missing in that area. And then they said that they don't know why that children were picked by the Black Volga as victims, but there was speculation that they were being sold or being used for more sinister things. However, something that's important to note was that this was like the most expensive, luxurious type vehicle for that time. And so the only people that would really drive those kind of cars around were like Soviet like political officials.
Okay. Or
members of the Communist Party. So I think, for me, I feel like when I read that, it was like a conspiracy theory that people made up that, the government's taking people.
Gotta love the conspiracies.
But I thought that was a pretty interesting story.
I think we should make conspiracies an episode. I was looking into that.
That would be cool.
One time. Because like I said, there's so many things we can talk about, but conspiracies is what I was kind of interested in getting deeper in some of them. But that also goes into our alien one that I have a feeling when we talk about ETs, it's going to, it'll probably end up being probably a 2 or 3 episode
there's even urban legends about where ET's buried.
Really?
Like there's, I'd have to read up on it more, but when I was skimming through
I
stuff,
have
I
an
saw
Area 51 one.
Where they were, that he really did exist. They created a movie, but he really did exist, and that there's a burial place for him.
That's half of where I got my nickname from, was that movie. On my mom's side, which but we're not going to say it on air. But, yeah, because that was her name in the movie.
Well,
and I actually looked just like her.
That's a good backstory, though. That's a good movie.
It was a good movie.
It is.
E.T. phone home. Not for sure if that's exactly what he sounded like, but...
Close enough. It works.
Do you got another one you want to go through, or do you want me to...
Well, I have one more right here about the boogeyman.
Okay, and then I'll take over.
You do it. Like parents, they're constantly reassuring their children that the boogeyman doesn't exist.
But he does if you don't clean your room.
Yeah, especially if you shove your stuff under the bed.
Ethan does such a great job, but then I'm like, oh, buddy, and then I look underneath his bed, and I'm like,
there it is.
Really?
Didn't go anywhere.
He's like, but Mom, and I'm like,
or the closet.
Yes.
I
won't look in the closet.
Oh, yeah.
That's on him.
But in Staten Island in the 1980s, he was like a real thing. Like stories about, they called him Crosby. And he would drag children from their beds, and he carried a bloody axe in the crook of his arm. But in reality, he was actually, and this actually did stem from a true story, he was a janitor of, I think, Willowbrook State School, which was like special needs children with disabilities. And later on, he did end up being somebody who he kidnapped like two kids at least that they know of from the school. Okay. So he really did sneak into the rooms and take them. So that's where the boogeyman thing comes from, or part of it.
Oh, okay. See, when I was little, I used to associate the boogeyman with the Sandman.
Oh yeah.
But why did I do that?
Well, because if you think about it, some guy coming out of the closet and throwing dirt in your eyes to get you to go to sleep, that's kind of creepy too. It doesn't matter what kind of spin your parents put on it, it's still kind of creepy.
Yeah, nobody should probably throw dirt in somebody's eyes.
Almost like the tooth fairy. While she's pink and pretty, some chick coming in to steal your teeth, that's a little creepy too, I'm not going to lie.
But she leaves me money. It kind of makes me feel like a prostitute of teeth.
Well, yeah.
I just thought of that too. Man. Okay, moving on. Sorry. This should be called Paranormal and Whining.
And why not?
Yeah, and why not? Okay, moving on. We're going to go to Iowa now. Oh, Iowa. Not my favorite state, but my favorite person is there. Yes.
Who, by the way, got a beautiful haircut. Love it.
Yes, she did.
She looks
Shout
so
out to Des.
Yep.
Oh, my Desi Lou. So this one's from Iowa. I was FaceTiming her, not yesterday, the other day, and we were discussing this, and she was researching this. So some of my info that I got came from her.
Oh, okay.
She was filling me in because she doesn't have a whole lot to do out there because it's Iowa. So she's helping her mama out from afar. This is in Wasilla, Iowa. I want to say it's on the west end of Iowa, if I remember correctly. And I apologize if anybody lives there and I just tortured that name. I'm sorry. In Iowa, Villisca Axe Murder House. What part of Axe Murder House isn't scary?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so the murders themselves are very much not an urban legend. They happened, and they remain unsolved, which I think we will talk to my fiance, and he has a podcast on true crime, and it is called True Crime Basement. So if you're into that type of thing, or know somebody that is, look it up, True Crime Basement. It's on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, pretty much whatever.
No, yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah, whatever you can download it on, he's on there. Maybe I'll have him look this one up since it's an unsolved case, but they are unsolved. Sometime between the evening of June 9th, is that my dad's birthday? 8th. God, I get that wrong every year.
I won't tell. We have this conversation every year too, yeah. But I won't tell. I promise.
Oh yeah, he can't listen to this
yeah,
episode.
We're not going to listen to this one at
Love
all.
you, Dad. Oh, I'm your princess. Sometime between the evening of June 9th, I do that every year.
I know you do. Yeah, all right.
On June 9th, 1912, in the morning that followed, 6 members of the Moore family and 2 house guests were brutally murdered, with each victim having suffered an axe wound to the head. What is it with murders and axes?
I know. It's kind of violent.
Very violent. I mean, there's so many ways you can take someone's life, but why with an axe? Like, yeah. Very sadistic. It's almost like they I want to say this in a non-creepy way. They get their joys
from that crushing feeling.
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of like that nursery rhyme. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her father 40 whacks. Or 40 whacks, and when
we actually watched that. I'm trying to remember if it was a show or I think it was a movie on Netflix maybe.
Oh yeah.
We watched that. Yeah. Lizzie Borden thing's a very interesting.
It is. It's, as sick as it is. When I was little, I was fascinated.
There's so many angles you can look at it to what really happened.
Well, besides the fact that in the end they really thought she was guilty. They found all the evidence that she was guilty, but back
she's
then,
a witch.
Well, she was an aristocrat. So if you were an aristocrat, there's no possible way that you could do that. And even though they knew she did it, they acquitted her because they didn't want that kind of shame on the aristocratic name. It like amazes me. But yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
Good story.
Yeah,
I think that house now is like a museum. They do
really?
Where people can walk through it.
Huh. That's weird. It's a good thing I like my stepmom.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Holy shit.
You're like, wait a minute, you like your stepmom?
Yeah.
What?
Like, who's your stepmom? Me!
Oh, yeah, it is a good thing you like me. I do.
That's
great. Where were we with this?
Axes.
Axes. Not X's, axes.
Yes.
One suspect was tried 2 times but never convicted. Surprisingly, no one. The somehow still standing house. Whoa, really? Oh, yeah, we gotta go see it. Listen to this. This was cool because Destiny looked this up too. Like, if we could go stay there. You can actually stay in this house. It's still standing. It's the subject of numerous rumors, legends, and reports of paranormal activity. You can find out for yourself because you can actually stay here. Just like the ghost hunter. There's a ghost hunter who mysteriously stabbed... Wow, this almost goes back to your one that you said about the hotel.
Oh.
Just like the ghost hunter who mysteriously stabbed himself in the chest there in 2014.
Oh.
That's all new. I starred that all up, so that is another one that we will...
Wow, that couldn't have felt good.
Too.
How did you stab yourself?
I have no idea. That's so recent though. That's only 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's not that long ago.
That's something I really wanna look into. And that way he was a ghost hunter.
Interesting.
Which is something. Well, not ghost hunter. We're gonna be spirit finders.
Oh yeah.
On the side, but this. Wow.
Mhm.
What's that? Oh, the Kansas one. I like this one too. Weren't you gonna say the Kentucky one? Or did you already?
Oh, that's the one we talked about.
Oh, wow.
Well, there was another one we were going to talk about, the Bell Witch. But I think that was
Is
in
she
Tennessee.
from another state? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I have that too, and you still got that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to throw this Kansas one in there. I got relatives in Kansas. I got relatives everywhere now that I'm sitting here talking about it out loud. I know. So every state better be listening that has my relatives in it.
That's right.
Anyhowsin'. Stoll's Gateway to Hell. Well, the name itself is creepy.
Well, yeah.
The tiny town of Stoll has counted for very few residents since it was founded in 1856. Which in reality, that seems like a long time ago, but as far as the ages of towns, because of the time that we're in, that's really not that old. The most famous is rumored to be Lucifer himself, who some say appears at the town's cemetery on Halloween and spring equinox.
Ooh.
You know, Sean called me Lucifer before because the electricity was out and here it is, 4 a.m. I'm up in the morning. I'm trying to take a shower, brush my teeth, and he's like, babe, we have no water. And I'm walking around with a flashlight. Good thing I'm half asleep because that keeps me from being so scared. And he's like, there's no hot water. I turn around and I'm like, I need water. He's like, Lucifer, calm down. And I'm like, ugh.
Your head didn't spin though, did it?
No,
you're good.
Yeah, but I just thought it was funny that he called me Lucifer and then called me Lucy for a few days after that.
That is kind of funny.
I needed water. It is 4 a.m. in the
funny.
morning, and you can't just take what. Because I am a nice person. I'm
I'm half-ass it in the morning.
I'm not a mean person by any means, but I'm a jolly person. I'm like always happy and did it. So for him to call me Lucifer, I did take offense to it at first. I'm like, what? Like what? So long story short, it did not spin. Not that time. I took all my stuff to work and got ready at work, but because they had hot water. Although I couldn't shower there, but anyhowsin'. Wow, that'd be so scary to see Lucifer.
Yeah.
They say he uses the site where He uses the site where a roofless church once stood as a portal to and from hell. Some say that he's drawn to the site of frequent witch hangings. Others believe one of the graves actually contains Satan's own child. Either way, new graves continue to be dug despite signs warning against trespassers, perhaps referring directly to the Prince of Darkness himself or the cults that are rumored to be flocked to the grounds. Oh my gosh, this is all stuff from the Supernatural show.
Oh. It's all coming together now.
Reminds me, Sean informed me yesterday, even Supernatural, the show, which I am a fan of, Team Dean. Love Dean. Anyway. Sean's my number 1, Dean's my number 2.
Or is he?
Oh boy, this just went to heck in a handbasket. He informed me that not that the stories from Supernatural aren't completely real, but they're based off real.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
real
real
experiences
events,
and stuff. Events, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. And I just thought that was really cool. I was like, oh my god, I love that show even more. I'm waiting for it to completely end. This year is the last season. However, because I'm a frugal shopper, as I said before, I found a really cool Supernatural shirt at Goodwill yesterday. And I can't wait to wear it one day. But they're their last season is this season, and that's
Really?
really sad. So you need to like binge watch it.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
It's a really, it starts out like urban legend wise, like when their episodes, it's not realistic stuff, but stuff that you can maybe, yeah, you've heard people say, okay, sightings here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Then it gets into more, I don't want to say biblical, but that's what it is with the angels and the archangels and Lucifer even.
Yep.
And yeah, you really need to watch it. It's actually how they portray things is that entertaining's
Well, Jonathan,
downplays
she
it,
really
but
likes it, so I've watched it a little bit here and there with her. But
Alright.
but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we need to have like a supernatural again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of shows out there like that which are awesome. But Supernatural, they nailed it.
Well, I think too for me it seems like just by watching the ones that I did, how accurate they are with some of the things they do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen it done and I've done it myself, where you can really tell that they've done their research, and so they're really taking it from some kind of spin off the truth versus just making it up.
Okay.
That's what makes it so good.
Well,
it's because you can hold on to it and see.
Well, that's why I would ask you like those questions, at your other shop or whatever, and I'd be like, okay, you got salt here. Oh my God, that happened on Supernatural or whatever, and that's what kind of kept me involved in it too, was knowing that they did do their research or whatever, as portraying the supernatural lifestyle. Is that a thing? Is that the natural? Okay, because I know some people, believer, non-believer, both, whatever. I'm in the center. I think it's cool to research. It's very entertaining to me. I would like to believe some of it, not all of it, because some of it is scary. But yeah, that's what kind of kept me going, is knowing that they did do their research.
There's definitely truth to it.
There couldn't be people, natural healers, saying, "Hey, you're doing this all wrong." Like, that's why would you even portray that? You know what I mean? So
I use white salt. I use black salt.
There's black salt.
Mm-hmm. For you would do that with I've done that around my home to protect it. You spread it around the home to protect
black
it.
Salt. I thought it was white salt.
You can do both.
Okay.
But black wards off complete negative energy. Versus just protection.
Where do you find black salt? I'm
I
not
ordered
sure I've ever seen
the eBay.
Oh, the eBay.
See?
All right. The eBay. I'm more of an Amazon girl. Why are we commercialing for these other companies? I don't know. They better write us a check.
Give us some free stuff.
Yeah, give me an Amazon gift card. Because you locked me out of my damn account.
Oh, I see how it is. A story that I found kind of freaky that's an urban legend based on a factual story is the dog boy. And maybe this could be one of our last stories, but I just want to share
I'm only
this
on Michigan.
Quick. Well, we got a lot to go then. But
we'll do like 2 more. Sorry, go ahead.
There's a place called Mulberry Street, and they say not to stand on the street because there's going to be a man that walks like a boy that's going to chase after you. Well, it's kind of based on a true thing. There was this guy named Gerald Bettis, and he was the only son of the Bettis family, and they lived on 65 Mulberry. And he was a major problem child, but not like, Dennis the Menace kind of way. He literally would collect and torture animals, especially dogs. And so that's where he got his name, the Dog Boy. But he, at some point, turned on his parents, and he killed them. He imprisoned them, and I think he eventually murdered his father. And then, I'm not sure if they could never prove it. Eventually, he got arrested for growing marijuana, and then he died in the state penitentiary, 1988, from a drug overdose. But yeah, the dog boy story kind of fascinated me. It kind of creeped me out, but it kind of fascinated me too.
You didn't do any more research into it to look more into it?
No, but I didn't get any further into it.
Huh.
But, yeah.
Some of these, it's really, because there's things with goats and a lot with animals actually, but some of them that I skipped over, the state-wise ones anyway. But it's wow, where did these, I don't know, where some of these got twisted so far beyond belief. You need to stop somewhere where it's believable before you add in that other stuff where you're like,
I think people like a good legend. They
yeah,
like
they do.
a good story.
They do. Please that mystery.
Yep.
Now, the one from the great state of Michigan.
Oh, yeah?
is Hell's Bridge, which is so kind of weird now that I think about it, because, like, we have the Mackinac Bridge, which is, like, kind of what we're known for with all the lakes.
Yeah.
But that's not the Hell's Bridge. Which I plan on going to visit the Hell's Bridge tomorrow just to see what it's about. We'll see if I can find it without dying from this urban legend or whatever. If you guys never hear from me again, you know it's
What
not
happened?
a legend.
There you go.
It's real.
Story answered.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. It starts with the tale of Ellis Frisk, a deranged old preacher who, according to blood-curdling lore, Pied Pipered a group of tethered children into the woods near what is now Algoma Township. He slaughtered them one by one, and casting them into Cedar Creek before being caught by their parents and hanged. But not before saying he was possessed by demons. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
In his current form, in its current form, Hell's Bridge is creaky, narrow metal footbridge in the middle of the woods, where those brave enough to cross at night claim to hear the voices and screams of children and are sometimes greeted by a black figure with glowing eyes as they traverse it. See, that's why I won't go at nighttime, because I did see pictures of this bridge, and it's definitely a footbridge. So it's like maybe 2 feet wide. Now, if you're going in there in the dark, even with a flashlight, like that's
creepy.
And not knowing where you are in the middle of the woods, there's no way, because if you fall, you're done for. Like, there's no way. That's why I do want to go during the light. We are going to record it. We'll eventually get it online so everybody can see it. I do want to see if it's out there, if it's real, whatever.
Yeah.
But I will not go at nighttime, because it's not like a house. It's in the middle of the woods. It's going to take me some time to find it. But I'm real excited about it just to see it, because I do know what it looks like, because I did look up the pictures or whatever. But some more interesting facts on this Elias Fisk. There's no known record of him in the area.
Oh.
So when you look him up, he's like nowhere from that area. See, there was a prominent Frisk family beginning in the 1910s. Still, despite the lack of hard facts, anyone who's visited the bridge will attest that there's something out there. And it usually makes its presence known as you are teetering on a shaky metal bridge in the moonlight. See, I will not go out there in the moonlight, especially by myself. That's why I'm hoping to take some of the Paranormal XL crew with me. So there's a few of us out there. Hopefully there's going to be more.
Oh, yeah.
As time goes on, you guys can get an awesome shirt that says that you're part of the Paranormal XL crew. Just check it out on Facebook. I got it out there. We need to... This is getting kind of long, but this is just great. We'll save that one for another time. One I did want to hit, though, because we will talk about this, is Nevada Area 51, as I hope most of you have heard about at least once.
Yeah, how could you not have heard about it?
Exactly. Area 51 lore has been satirized, remixed, and rifled on so much in a popular culture. Sometimes it's hard to remember how creepy this whole deal is in the first place. But the secret government cover-ups, dead aliens, and playing God in the middle of the desolate Nevada desert is creepier than anything. It's been said that everything from time travel, genetic experiences, and alien autopsies are commonplace at Area 51. Frankly, no one outside of high government knows what goes on in there. And on that note, I was listening to another podcast, Paranormal, about aliens in Area 51 and whatnot, and he had a guest speaker on there, and I was listening, like, he was like, there's no way ever you can try to penetrate the fences that are there to keep you out or whatever. Like, you will get fined. They'll keep you for, like, the most a day or two, then they'll fine you. Like, I don't know, it's anywhere from $100 to $1,000, so it's not like a whole lot, but you are by no means going to go in there and try to find out what's going on, unless you are part of the higher government or have clearance for that stuff. But I would like to do some research. I know there's a lot of information out there on it. Whether it's true or not, I want to do research and find the best, the best sources we can get the best information from or whatever when we get to that topic. But I just thought that was
It is fascinating.
Kind of neat because there's so many, like I said, cover-ups, the dead aliens. I mean, it's experience and stuff. Like it can be. Let's see. Area 51 is real, highly classified military base in the southern portion of Nevada. Its purpose is publicly unknown. So pretty much anything that we say, yeah, maybe there is no ETs there. I mean, probably they're building missiles or whatever. Honestly, because if we really don't know, but it was built in 1950s. In the infant stages of the Cold War, President Eisenhower approved plans to build the U-2 stealth plane and created Area 51 to house the development labs and test fields. See, that may be all it is. And then people get, something's always got to be more to people. They can't just let things be. It is what it is. Let it happen. Move on to something else.
I like to imagine more.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. So we know, the aliens, they may just be letting us keep believing Area 51 houses the aliens and whatever they're doing, but maybe it's taking place up in Canada somewhere or here in Michigan probably.
Yeah,
that would be an idea for them to do. Yeah, let's keep all the people that believe anything they hear and see going this way, but
we got it over here instead.
Yeah,
that
we
would
can.
make sense too.
Yeah. Man, I got some good ideas. Let's see. When reports of the spacecraft-looking plane floated through the public and media, theories spread, and the conjecture around Roswell's alien crash site only fanned the flames of speculation. From there, it's been an epicenter for all U.S. government suspicions. See, people just can't let things be. There's a simple explanation for that. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. People don't want to move on. They like to hang on and then change it around. It's like playing telephone back in school. Did you ever play that in school? Our teachers used to do that with us. When we'd sit up, she'd start by saying something to a student and it'd go all the way around. And by the time it got to the end, it was something completely way different. Yep. That's exactly, to me, kind of, I guess, plays into that. Can't pronounce that. I did want to say that. God, there's so many. I'm not going to go through all 50 of them because we'd be here all freaking day. But I want to say there was one more I was interested in. Maybe there's not. This one, because I do have a friend in North Dakota. Or she used to live in North Dakota. She's back in Iowa now. And then we'll do our finishing touches. You okay with that, Mom?
Yeah.
All right. So this is in North Dakota, the gates of hell. Abandoned towns are generally creepy, and North Dakota has an abundance of them that were all abandoned after the railroad boom, which is, I would love to go out to visit sometime just to see the old western towns or whatever. Like I pictured old western towns and you got the tumbleweeds going through and stuff. I think that'd be so neat. Ghost towns, whatever. And that's pronounced Tegas. Takes the cake due to the little fact that some people believe that it was once housed a Lutheran church that doubled as a hotbed for Satan worship. Yeah. What? A church and a Satan worship place?
That's scary.
I don't even know how you would cross those over. Like were they talking about it over Sunday breakfast someday? Or, hey, I'm going to do this at nighttime and you can do that during daytime. The legend is it burned down, but if you stand in just the right place, you can hear the screams of the damned bubbling from hell itself. That is scary.
Just a little bit.
Ooh, this is another thing from Supernatural. There are also reports of hellhounds, glowing gravestones, and a ghost train. Hellhounds are a huge thing in Supernatural show. I need to stop going back to that because I love the show. Watch it if you haven't watched it. Watched a few episodes, and those of you who have watched it, I'm sure you love it. Yeah, because I could go on that. I could make a podcast on that tangent all day. But I'm not going to. See, the hellhounds, those are so scary. See, the Satanism business dates back to the Satanic Panic in the 80s. What? Really? Was it? Do you know this? From the 80s? I kind of want to look into that. Though Tegas been spooky since its founding in 1900, and ever since the late 80s, when hundreds of high schoolers turned up for the vandalism intensive Halloween party were run out of the ghost town. Visitors have been met with extreme skepticism. The city's last church burned to the ground in 2001.
No. That's a pretty
That is
interesting
weird. I wish
story.
I would have read more into that. Huh. We may have to touch back on like
A couple of these, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. A later, whatever. Yeah. Because those are kind of neat. I like to do a little more research of like the history on them and whatnot. So, wow.
Well, some of them feel like they're from, real actual stories.
Yeah.
Too.
So yeah, some of them aren't so far gone. So with all that, and I hope everybody enjoyed learning about that. Like I said, I think that we should reach into that more. Maybe do a few episodes throughout our time with this, so maybe we can hit all of them that we've researched, but look into a little more the ones that we did. Or if the listeners have one that they know about, they want us to read about or look more into, see if we can come up with some different research or whatever.
Yeah,
Email us
do.
and stuff like
Let us
that.
know.
But with all that being said, Mama Mary's going to read her passage.
All right. For my book, Something to Meditate On for Friday, April 19th, 2019. Today's energy is going to bring you the desire for change and emotional fulfillment. What feeds your soul? Change your life, and you will find the universe and the way that you relate to the universe on a whole new level. We all have a fear of being judged. You are a unique and magical creature, and the desire to be seen as such by those that you love will fill you with a bit of rebelliousness. Never be afraid to stand out or to stand alone. Those who show you negativity because of this, they secretly envy you and your strength to be different. During your meditation, focus on being grounded in your own truth, as well as accepting the living and living with your own reality. Know that it is a beautiful place to be because you are unique and unusual. Pray to your angels. Ask them to bless you with emotional security and to assist you in being comfortable in your own skin. You are in the middle of a spiritual revolution. Hold this truth within your soul and move forward on your spiritual journey. Your world is now shifting to a higher vibration, and everything is going to change beautifully. There are going to be new connections, and some of these connections will bring chaos, but chaos always brings powerful and intense change that no one can deny. How will you organize and balance your magical chaos? The spirit in me salutes the spirit in you. Mary.
All right. Well, with that passage, that should wrap up episode number 3. And I want to thank the listeners for sticking around while we learn this equipment and all that, because it's been a very much learning experience. So I appreciate you guys if you're still listening, or if you have listened and you're still listening and you want to tell people about it, tell them to skip to number 3. Hopefully the third time's a charm in this case.
Yeah.
We have some glorious things in play for Paranormal XL coming up, just trying to finalize some last minute touches, so stay tuned for that, because it's going to be exciting. It's going to be things you can actually watch. Remember, email us your stories, questions, comments, even concerns or advice. We will read them all. Paranormal@writeme.com. Also follow us on Facebook. Don't forget to invite your friends and family to follow us as well. The best way for us to market is to keep listeners happy, so they tell everyone that Paranormal XL is the best podcast ever.
That's right.
Also, don't forget to subscribe from whichever app you are listening to us on. And thank you all.
Thank you.
This